Hey guys, welcome to this video. We received a great question in one of the comments to our videos, and that is, if you have a debt collector on your credit report, is it better to dispute directly with the debt collector, or should you go through the credit bureaus? So again, great question. My name is John Watts. I'm a consumer protection lawyer. Let's take a look at this, and we'll look at kind of the advantages and disadvantages of doing either approach. And remember, you could do both, but again, there are some advantages and disadvantages. So let's talk first of all about, there's a collector on your credit report. So you send a letter directly to that debt collector, a dispute letter, a validation letter, whatever you want to call it. So what are some advantages? Well, number one, it's simple, right? You don't have to worry about, what are all the addresses for all the credit bureaus? You send it to Portfolio Recovery or Midland Funding or LVNV or Jefferson Capital, whoever it is. It's just very simple. Now, when they receive that, there is a chance that their response to you will be, we're shutting this thing down. We're deleting it off your credit report. Okay. We had a recent video where we talked about the difference between coming off of our credit report and actually killing the debt. Those are two different things. But hey, even if you just get it off your credit report, that's fantastic. You sent one letter, boom, it's gone. Now, they may not do that. Instead, they may send you some documents to try to prove their claim to you. And you may get those documents, and let's say your credit report says $4,000, but the documents say $3,600. Well, is that the same? No, it's different. It might have some different dates on there. It might have different account numbers. They might say on your credit report, this is a Synchrony bank account. But then when you get the documents, they say it's a Capital One. Well, which one is it? So there might be some things that you can use to then pursue a claim or have more leverage over the collector. And then here's one of the biggest ones is you send the letter to them directly to the debt collector. They get your letter. After they get your letter, they update your report. And they do not show it as disputed. Now that is almost always the 1692 E8 violation. It's the FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. It says no false credit reporting, including the failure to note when an account is disputed. So those are some of the advantages. What are some disadvantages? Well, you're leaving it all up to the collector. They just decide, what are we going to do? There's no sort of outside pressure from the credit bureaus bearing down on them, okay? It's just you and the collector. Now, the other thing is, if the collector violates the law, it's only the FDCPA that they violate, not the Fair Credit Reporting Act. To trigger the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you have to go to the credit bureaus, and then the credit bureaus notify the debt collector. So you're leaving some sort of laws on the table here by going directly to the collector. Now, what about going to the credit bureau? Well, an advantage is you go out to the credit bureau and then they are supposed to notify the collector. Well, sometimes they get it and they just go, we're going to kill the debt. Okay. Or let me rephrase it, not kill the debt, but get it off of your credit report. The debt still is alive. It's out there. But from your credit reporting standpoint, it's been wiped out. Okay. So that's one advantage. Now, the collector, when they're notified, so it goes to the credit bureau notifies the collector may get that and say, this just isn't worth it because if we're wrong, we can be sued under the FDCPA and the FCRA. Let's just get rid of it. Sometimes they kill the debt. They say, hey, we've closed this out. We're not going to sell it or transfer. But normally they would just tell the credit bureau, hey, just delete this off the credit report. Now, another advantage is your account will almost certainly be marked as disputed. And that tends to minimize, sometimes eliminate, the negative effect from a credit scoring standpoint of that collection account. Now, if you're going to buy a house, they may look and say, no, you can't have any disputed accounts. But just from a credit score standpoint, it can be helpful to have it show as disputed. Okay. And then the final thing is, if the collector violates the law, you can sue under the Fair Credit Reporting Act and usually the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Well, what are some disadvantages? It's just more work. I mean, The first one is we send one letter to the collector. This one we're sending, maybe to Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, Innovis. Okay. And again, you could also send directly to the collector. So it's just more letters, more efforts involved. You're very unlikely, if you just go to the credit bureaus and then they notify the collector, very unlikely getting documents back. Okay. And the other thing is, since it's almost certainly going to be marked as disputed, and remember that was an advantage, if it's marked as disputed, then you have no claim under the FDCPA under that section 1692E8. So which is better? It just depends. There are pros and cons of each way. Usually I start off just going directly to the collector, see what we get back, see if they mark it as disputed, and then we make a decision on, do we want to dispute that with the credit bureau? So appreciate you watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.